I'm Anil Kumar. This video is for my new subscriber who wants to explore equation of line or linear equations. So we'll begin with very basic concept, and that is, how can we define a line? The question here is, how can we define a line? So line, you can say, is set of points. We can say it is a set of points linearly arranged. Okay, so could be that. Another question could be, when we say how can we define a line, we could define it algebraically, like in mathematics, like by giving an equation, right? By an equation, for example. Okay, by an equation. That could be another option. So the question here was, how can we define a line? We'll get different kinds of answers. Some people will say, some persons, a set of points linearly arranged. Well, they're looking into the graphical part. So it's kind of like this, right? So that is a line, arrows on both the sides, set of points linearly arranged. And some will say, well, it is by this equation. If I write this equation, then you can define a line. So there's a line, general equation is y equals to mx plus b, for example, where m is the slope of the line, b is the y-intercept. Likewise, depending on what is the interest, we'll get different answers to this question. Now let's get to the mathematical part of it, and we say, well, now the question is slightly more specific, and we say, write equation of a line passing through point 2, 3, let's say. Okay. Now the question is, write equation of a line passing through point 2, 3. Well, that is very difficult to answer, since what you notice is that if I'm trying to sketch my lines, and if I have a point 2, 3, let us say this is x-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, let's just put some scale here. So 2 and 3 will mean this point. Now if I say that write equation of line passing through 2, 3, I could draw many different lines going through this point 2, 3. I could do, this is a line, maybe horizontal, okay. I could draw a line which is going through origin, right? So we say, well, this is also a line, okay. Treated it straight, good. I could say, well, there could be a vertical line. Likewise, I could draw many lines going through this point 2, 3, right? So which line am I talking about? That is not very clear. So we say, well, define your line, come on. Which line are you talking about? Okay. Now to really define this line, what do I need? I need something extra. Okay. Now to define a particular or specific line, what I need, I'm given a point. What I need is one of the two things. I may need a point, another point, right? So I may need two things. Let me say A and B. I may need another point, or I may need slope, or you can say direction. In which direction it goes from 2, 3, right? That is, if I know that, then I exactly know which line we are talking about. Correct? So what we have learned here is that to define a line, we need either set of 2 points, that means a point and another point, or we need a point and slope. So these two things are required to define a line. Otherwise, if you are just given one thing, that is to say, if you are given a point, you could draw so many, right? Well, if you are given a direction, then what happens? Well, if I say that the direction is kind of like this, let me just give a direction. So I'm not giving a number, I'm just saying this is my direction. If that is the direction, then I could draw many lines which are parallel to this, right? So all these lines will be parallel, and still we will not know which line we are talking about. You get an idea, right? So alone direction is not sufficient. To fix the line, we need a point and the direction. Do you get an idea? Once I have a point and direction, I know which particular line we are talking about. Correct. So what we have understood here is that to define a line, we need two things. One of them could be 2 points, and the other could be a point and direction. This direction is normally written with letter M, and we say slope. So now let me take an example, and then we'll close this video by writing equation of two lines. So let's take a point P. So we'll take 2, 3 for example. Okay. And another point, let's say we'll take another point. Let's say B. Okay. And we'll take a very simple example. So what we'll do is that we'll do 4, and we'll go this. So we have moved in X direction 2 places away. In Y, I want to meet 4 places away, right? So 7. Okay. So we have taken 2 points. So if I take 2 points, then to find the equation of line, we need the slope. So slope is actually written by letter M normally. It is rise over run. Rise is change in Y, that is Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. Now Y2, Y1 are actually, these are your Y values. You can treat any one as your first point, the other one as the second point. Normally we treat this as the first, that as the second, correct? So we will use first and second standard points. You see M equals to Y2 will be 7 for us, Y1 will be 3, divided by X2 will be 4 minus 2. 7 minus 3 is 4, 4 minus 2 is 2, so we get a slope of 2. Right. So I've taken values which really helped. Equation of line could be written in many forms, but we'll go with this equation. This equation is called slope intercept form. Let me write. Slope intercept form. Now in this equation you can see that we have slope, so we could write M as 2. So what we get here is Y equals to 2x plus b. We need to find, we have the slope, we need to find b, the y-intercept. Why it is called y-intercept? If I write x as 0, I get y equals to b, right? So if you see this, if x is 0, so we are talking about the y-axis, this is x-axis, then this point is the y-intercept, and that will be b. This point is always b. But to find the value of b from given situation, we can substitute one of the points on the line. Let's say we know this 2, 3. We can use this point and the slope. So we'll substitute 2 for x, 3 for y. We already have 2 for slope. So we'll write 3 equals to 2 times 2 plus b. And rearrange to solve for b. So it is 3. 2 times 2 is 4. Taking to this side, 3 minus 4 is b, and b is minus 1. As soon as you get the value of b, we have the equation, right? So So this equation now could be written as y equals to 2x minus 1. Do you see that? We could do this because now we have the y-intercept and now we also know the slope. So knowing 2 points, we can always write the equation, and that is how you could do it. Now let's take another example where we are going to take a point and slope. So let's say the point is 3 and 4, and let's say slope m is, let's say, a fraction this time. In that case, we'll again begin with this equation, which is y equals to mx plus b. We'll substitute these points known to us: 4 for y, half for m, 3 for x, and plus b. So we can find what b is. So we'll have 4 minus 3 over 2 equals to b. Now that fraction, you could work it out. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 minus 3 over 2 is b. So the value for b is 5 over 2. Let me write here. 5 over 2 is b. Once we know that, we have all the required ingredients to write the equation. So we say y equals to, slope is half x, b is 5 over 2 plus 5 over 2. So that is the form, slope-intercept form, in which we have got our equation. Well, there are different forms to write this equation with. One of them is standard form, in which we write all xy on the same side, and we avoid writing a fraction for x. So if I have to convert that, then in this case I'll just multiply by 2. So I get 2y equals to x plus 5. Bring them over to the same side, so I have x minus 2y plus 5 equals to 0, and that is the standard form, right? So we get another equation which is this, and this is the standard form. Anyway, we have a couple of videos explaining these aspects of linear equations. I'll provide some links for those, but I hope this gives you a clear idea about lines, especially when you're revisiting this topic after a long time. I'm Anil Kumar. You can always share and subscribe to my videos, and I hope that helps. Thank you, and all the best.